Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Hermione, for those of you who might be new around here, and on this channel I like to share with you how you can craft your best life on a budget. So today's video is all about DIY room decor projects. It has been a while since I've just done plain old DIY room decor, so I thought I would pick it up again and show you guys some projects that you can make in this new year to spruce up your bedroom a little bit. They're really easy to make and they're pretty fun, and also they come in at a nice low budget price point. So if you want to see how to make them, let's jump right into it. Okay, so new year, new DIYs. This one's a little twist on an old DIY though. It's been a while since I've done a wall hanging, but I wanted to show you how to do one with a little bit of a twist. So let's go ahead and get into it. To create any wall hanging, you'll need a small piece of wooden dowel like this, and for this one I'm using wool roving, which is a really fluffy wool that you can just peel apart like this. So I'm just peeling it into thin strips, so I think I had about 6 or 7, and to attach these to the dowel, as you can see, I folded them in half, placed them underneath the dowel, and then using the loop created at the top, I pulled the ends through and then pulled it nice and tightly. I did this with all of my pieces of lilac roving until the whole piece of dowel was completely full. When doing this, don't forget to leave a little bit of space on the ends, that way you can tie it up. When you're happy with your weaving, go ahead and use some scissors to trim the roving at the end to give it a nice clean finish. Now I did 2 of these, one in cream and one in lilac, so I decided to stack them both together. You can make just 1 or 2 or 3, as many as you like. So to do this, I'm just using a piece of twine and then tying it around the end of each dowel, connecting them together and snipping off the ends. And there you have it, a fun and colourful wool roving wall hanging that will spice up your space in 2018. Moving swiftly on, I wanted to show you how I created this mid-century inspired, very minimal wood effect mirror, and it's got a little bit of a secret. It doubles up as jewellery storage as well. So if you want to see how I made this, just keep watching. The 2 most important parts of this DIY are the wooden stand, I picked this up in Michael's in the USA, and a circular mirror. I decided for this piece, instead of painting, I was going to use some Danish oil just to bring out the natural grain of the wood and give it a nice rich colour. I did buy this plaque pre-made, but it looks pretty simple as it's just 2 pieces of wood, so if you are handy with power tools, you could probably make something like this for yourself. On one side you'll want to attach your mirror, so I'm using a circular mirror here and just using a glue gun to add some hot glue to it so I can place it onto the plaque. I then moved on to the hooks for the jewellery on the back of the piece, and for this I decided just to paint some old wooden beads that I had lying around in a grey colour, and I hot glued 5 of these to the back right at the very top so that they could hold necklaces, bracelets and earrings. And once it was dry, it looked a little something like this. This is such a simple DIY, it's so easy to make, but it's one of those things that seems to be really on trend at the moment, the whole minimal wood look. So I'm really pleased to have tried something that's a little bit different for me, a little bit more plain, but I love it and it's super functional, so if you do try this, do let me know. Sticking with the theme of minimalism and wood and that kind of mid-century inspired vibe I'm going for in this video, I decided to make one of those wooden dowel planters for my ficus plant. This is actually so easy to make, so let me show you how I did it. So you'll need a plant pot. You can use any one. Mine is from IKEA. You just need to adjust your measurements accordingly, and you'll need some thick wooden dowel. You'll also need some copper pipe pieces for this project, so I'm using 4 copper tees and 8 copper end caps, and you can find these in any local hardware store pretty inexpensively. So to start, you'll need to use a ruler to kind of guess how tall you want to make your plant stand in accordance to the height of your pot. So mine ended up being 11 inches that I wanted to cut it to, and then you'll also need to measure the diameter of the pot as well. These are the measurements you'll need to cut your dowels. You will need 4 pieces of dowel, your desired height, and 2 pieces the width of your planter. And for reference, mine was 4 pieces of 11 inches and 2 pieces of 6.5 inches. So go ahead and mark all of these lengths on the pieces of dowel, and then once you've done that, you can go ahead and chop them up using a small handsaw. If you're young, obviously get someone to help you with that. This is how mine turned out. I have the short pieces, 2 of them, and then I've got 4 of the long pieces. So next up, with the 4 long pieces, you're going to want to then cut these in half. This is so that you can attach the copper tees in the middle and then add the other pieces of dowel to create the structure. If you're confused, I will show you what I'm doing in a minute. So chop these in half, use your handsaw once again, and then you should have something that looks a little bit like this, but times 8. Next, you'll need to create the cross piece that the pot actually sits on. To do this, take your 2 smaller pieces, the width of the pot, and mark the center in the middle. Then take another piece of dowel, place that in the middle by your point, and trace around it to create a square shape that spans half of the circumference of the dowel. You'll need to cut these notches out on both pieces, and this can be quite tricky. So go ahead and cut 2 lines on either side like so, and then you'll want to cut diagonally to get rid of the notch. Now I just need to pause this really quickly to let you guys know that obviously, please do not use your saw to cut towards your hand like I'm doing here. I don't know what I was thinking this day. This is absolutely ridiculous. You need to be cutting away from your hand and preferably using a workbench and exercising some kind of safety and respect for your fingers. So please, please do as I say and not as I am doing in this clip. I'm cringing. Anyway, I cut the notches out of both of them dangerously, and then I went to slot them together. It's super easy and they stick nicely together like so, but you can add a little bit of wood glue if you'd like to keep them even more firm. Now you should have your cross piece, 8 pieces for the legs, 4 copper tees, and 8 copper end caps. Now you can go ahead and assemble your piece. So for the legs, push the top and bottom piece into the copper tees like I am doing here. Do this for all 4 pieces, and then you'll also want to pop some copper end caps on as well to finish it off. You can use a little bit of glue to keep these in place if you would like. Once you're done, you should have 4 legs that look a little bit like this. All there is left now to do is to add each of these onto your cross piece. As you can see here, mine was a little bit wobbly, so I did decide to go in and glue all of the pieces together. I used Yoo-hoo for this. You can use any kind of strong adhesive, but I would recommend not using hot glue because the hot glue kind of doesn't stick to the copper pipe for some reason. Finally, once you're done, you should have something that looks a little bit like this, a super modern and minimal looking planter. And hopefully you will have all of your fingers still intact because you will be exercising caution and safety, unlike me. And now let's move on to the last DIY, which is another minimal modern looking wood piece. This one is much more simple to do, so without further ado, let's jump into it. For this piece you will need a large embroidery hoop, and you'll only need the inside piece for this, and you'll also need some more dowel. Wouldn't you know, I've been using dowel for all of these projects. Anyway, start by taking your embroidery hoop apart and get rid of the larger piece, and then take 2 pieces of dowel slightly larger than your embroidery hoop. You can cut these to size if you'd like, and then you can leave them. You can use Danish oil, or I decided to paint them just to switch it up a little bit as I hadn't painted anything in this video. So I went for a nice light grey on the entire thing. And then I left it to dry. Once it was dry, I went ahead and used hot glue to glue the dowels into place. Now, as you can see, I'm only using 2 dowels here, and I'm using quite thick ones, but you can use dowels of any size, and you could add 3 or 4 or even 5 if you want. Go crazy with this project. Anyway, after that was dry, I decided I thought it was a little bit plain, so I did go in and give it a coat of light blue chalk paint just on the dowels, because I was like, you know what? No, I want some color in one of these projects. So I went ahead and painted it, and I left that to dry once again, and this is the finished result. Just hang it up on a hook on your wall, and you can store any kind of jewelry, your glasses, sunglasses, or anything you want on this organizer. That's everything for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that it's inspired you to get a little bit crafty and make some new things for your bedroom or your home. And if you did like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. That lets me know that you like DIYs. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!